here? Is it because we still depend a lot on imported oil, or do we know why that was such a jump?
All the things that you mentioned, but it's supply and demand, right? So basically, what happened to increase the price of asphalt liquid were there were a couple things. So obviously, the economy started heating up, so the demand for asphalt went up. There were some production restraints within the United States. So there were one or two large refineries, one in Mid-Con, or the central United States, and one somewhere in the eastern side that went offline for a period of time for whatever reason. So that lowered the actual availability or the supply side of things. And the second side of it is all of the asphalt oil manufacturing here in the States either has to come into the States and be consumed, but they still export a large amount of it. Well, that export market started to heat up as well. So the oil suppliers were making more money exporting the oil out of the country, which limited the supply again coming into the country. So all those lined up to make a very profitable economic condition for the oil suppliers, and the prices went up. What's driving them down this time is, and I'm going to screw this up, I can't remember what the letters are, but it's like iOS or something, but 20. But what's happening is the government environmental rules have mandated in January of 2020, all the bunker fuel that ships use for fuel and everything have to have a much lower sulfur content for the oil suppliers to refine the sulfur out of there. They basically have to pull some of the heavier crudes out of there, which is typically asphalt oil. So the expectation is, as they do that, there's going to be an abundant supply of asphalt here in the United States and across the world, because they're now refining that bunker fuel. So that's already begun driving the prices down as the oil suppliers start to prepare for larger inventories in 2020. Is
there any opportunities to get into long-term contracts for oil prices, expecting this
yes.
supply increase?
Yes. So typically what we do is we will lock up a fair amount of our oil needs with suppliers. From a long-term standpoint, very difficult to get a long-term contract. They're usually 6 months or a year. Most asphalt suppliers don't have that crystal ball to hedge that much oil out in front. And because we're a non-index state, we'll ride that wave too, right? So we don't like to go too much further than 6 to 12 months when we don't know what the oil supply is going to do. So a good example of that, Thad, is if we would have locked in a long-term contract, say today, that covers all of next year, it would be typically at today's prices, and we wouldn't gain anything by the oil prices falling. So it's kind of you want to lock some in on a project by project basis. If we have a long-term project, we'll lock in on those specific projects. But a lot of times we'll play the market on our day-to-day book of oil needs, because we know prices are going to go up and down, and we want to capture that margin. That answer your question? So the ability's out there. We're just, the asphalt suppliers are skeptical and don't want to go too far, because they don't know what the asphalt market's going to do a year or two down the road either. And we're skeptical of it because there may be an opportunity for us to capture a better deal at some point in time. Sabina Kurz. Is this your question or somebody else's?
Someone online.
Okay. Anonymous or?
Ronnie Billion submitted a question.
Okay, thank you.
He asked, what does the next 12 to 24 months look like for TxDOT's budgeting and bidding forecast look like for Texas bid region area?
All right. So I got the first part. What was the second part of the question? So I got the TxDOT part.
Okay, and bidding forecast look like for the Texas bid regional area?
Bidding forecast? Okay, got it. I'm half deaf, if you guys didn't know, or that's what I tell my wife. So, looks very good. So you've got to look at it by region. So Dallas-Fort Worth districts within TxDOT, there's an immense amount of money that's going to be spent in the next 24 months in the DFW area. Kind of went through an exercise not too long ago and took the 7 major counties that make up the DFW Metroplex, overlaid kind of what's coming to bid and what's currently under construction in a 1-year time frame, in a 2 to a 3-year time frame, and then a 3-year plus time frame, just based upon what TxDOT has already published. All very good indicators. Most of these counties have larger DOT budgets than most states in the United States. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars over, really it's about $1.2 billion of spending over the next 10 years is what it boils down to. What that looks like for future projects is very good for us. I think we'll see more of our projects start coming out. When I say our projects, we're talking overlays, road widening, road maintenance type projects. The fear, though, is there's a lot of big projects that are coming out as well. There's a lot of big infrastructure needs in the DFW area, and a lot of times those consume a lot of dollars, and there's not a lot of asphalt on them. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. That's kind of that design build realm that's out there. I think that answers the DOT portion of it. I think there's a lot of DOT projects. There's going to be more work forecasted than there's current capacity to get done, which is a good thing and a bad thing. We'll see how that plays out. The next 12 to 24 months, I think it's going to be fantastic. It's after 24 months that's anybody's guess. How many new entrances in the market do we get? What's it look like 24 months from now? I don't know. We'll deal with it when we get there. I just know it's going to be all we can do for the next 12 to 24 months. That's a good thing for Texas Bit. The current forecast, we really didn't bid anything in September. The October letting has quite a few good jobs on it. October, November, December is typically when we start building up our backlog and our third-party customers start building their backlogs for next year. Be quite honest, we've got some holes in our schedule that we're actively looking at a lot of the projects that are coming down and seeing where they fit for 2020. We'll fill those holes. Hopefully we're going to choose the right projects that make us the most money. That's always the goal. I've always said some of the best projects I've ever had were the ones I didn't get, and there's reasons for that. So we're very selective with which projects we're targeting and going after. I think we have a good bid strategy going forward, meaning just what I was talking about, which projects make sense for us. That bid strategy is also in a development stage as well right now. I'm very excited about our bid strategy. I think it's going to make us even better than we are now at contracting. So, typical of my long-winded conversation or answers. That's what the DOT future estimate looks like right now. Good. Scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 9, Donnie. I could have answered it that way too. That's what Donnie's thinking. That would have been the easy way. All done? All right, again, thank you guys. Be safe. Get back to work and keep an eye on Matt. All right, thank you.